Xirtus.
Have you noticed, there's not much of a curve? It's a lovely beach.
Yes. It is.
Quite a lovely day. Yes, that's what it is. A lovely day.
Look, Andreas. If you don't mind. I was kind of thinking.
Not at all. What are we thinking about?
Wait. Andreas. How did you get here?
Oh, yes, wonderful thought, Michael. A beautiful, positive, constructive thought. Amusing to ponder. Absolutely. Similarly, but, more interestingly, how did you?
Hey. Wait a second.
Give it time.
Hold on. Quiet now. Let me think for a second.
Think as long as you like. Michael, let me help you. Think of a perfect circle.
Dang it, Andreas. Last I remember I was finishing up at my office.
Golden recollection, Michael. You were fatigued.
I was exhausted. You didn't take me to some Epstein Island to be sacrificed or anything, did you?
Not at all. I came to check on you and found you asleep at your desk. Next to your bed.
It's not a bed, it's a therapeutic chiropractic vertebrae alignment table. I use it for work.
Next to your massage table. You know, it works. As a bed, I've tried it. It's actually quite comfortable. The sheer sight of you exhausted me. I took a rest upon your therapeutic chiropractor's whatever you call it massage table bed. And I felt much better. Almost medicinally, so.
Glad to hear it.
I realized you needed more than chiropractic care. Michael, you need a vacation.
I need a nap, is what I need.
In your dreams, Michael.
Oh, boy. Creepy occult reading room.
It's not a reading room, Michael. It's a library. Honestly, sometimes, you can be so American.
This place has very eerie vibes.
As opposed to the caverns of the fossilized innards of an elephant.
What kind of books are these?
These are the texts of Tartaria. All accumulated and digitized. Available on demand.
Digital. Is that the new magic?
Nothing is new, under the sun, Michael.
How biblical. This is heavy stuff, Andreas. I mean it, I know you have done some things before, but this is serious. There's a price to all this, I'm sure. You're always messing with stuff you probably shouldn't mess with. You know that?
Not really. Besides, I suppose learning will make the whole mess worth it. Besides, what could possibly go so sinisterly, diabolically wrong in a lovely little library? No mess, no fuss.
What kind of information do they hold?
Michael, these are the heartstones of the Titans themselves. These are the diaries of giants and monsters. Here in this room, if we listen, we may hear their tale.
Listen?
What did you call the Library of Tartaria again? A reading room. Read the book with the inscription of it laying upon the table.
Which book, which inscription? Wait. The one with the elephant in the shape of a mountain surrounded by hearts?
Bingo, that's the one.
You know, if I wasn't a titanologist, I might find the cover of this book a bit more horrifying.
Exactly, the point really.
Fair enough.
There is one more, possibly insignificant, trifling really, but perhaps beyond non-existent and therefore existentially considerable detail. I thought perhaps I would chance to mention.
You know, when you trickle across your hesitation, it doesn't fool me?
Well, you see, Michael, as it were, the giant fossilized elephant mountains. As they are, the ones in the Titan graveyards by the sea. The ones we search the depths of unto from their eyes through their lungs into their hearts and their bottoms. Do you recall which giant fossilized elephant mountains to which I am referring?
I remember.
They were not dead elephants, Michael.
Andreas. I never said they were. I've simply shown their similarities to biology and geologic similarity. I've done a lot of research, and I never claim anything I can't substantiate with evidence.
Michael.
What?
The Elephant Mountains are alive.
What?
Living Titans, Michael. We are spelunking in living Titans, giant creatures, titanic Tartarian pachyderms from another dimension.
Andreas. What are you on about?
I'm not sure you fully realize the gravity of the situation.
Sounds truly bog-minding.
The Tartarus is an eternal curveless straight circle, holographic and flat and cyclic. When we went inside the Elephant Mountains, we disrupted the flow of their hearts. Though our hearts might have been in the right place, it seems we may have incidentally put their heart stones in the wrong ones. Now many titans in ancient Tartaria are losing their titan babelings.
What the heck, Andreas? Why do you get me into these things?
That's the spirit of the Geist.
Okay, so the letters are all jumbled, so I'm going to read them best I can. What does this even say? Hemoglobius flaticus Xirtus. Presta, digitus, pachydermitis. Presta tartaria. What was that?
Oh, it's nothing. I have my own personal sound score and soundtrack actually, to accentuate my moments and make the arduous gratuity more palatable.
Then why the creepy sound? That better be the last time.
Or else I'm sure.
Pachydermis pterophromicus abracadabrabraxis. Titini. Velurian, Velcronica spirotonal. Velcro. Opus ego. Abacadabrabraxe. Abysodicada. Ta. Say what? Abba-like, dancing queen? This goes between being terrifying and ridiculous. Listen, Andreas. This sorcerer's apprentice thing? Not working on me. What does some ancient old dead guy named Patahotep know about titanology anyway? Oh boy. That did it, didn't it?
Thou shalt create, what of, thou speak. Well done.
Andreas. What was that? You said we'd go on a nice adventure. I figured a mountaintop. You know? We were already at the beach. Why do I need this? I don't need this.
You totally need this.
Look at this place. What a nice little Illuminati place that you have here. Quaint, Andreas. It's like an MTV music video set, only I assume the dead body in the sarcophagus is real. Knowing you.
Michael, you're too much. You know, actually, in the very best music videos, the sarcophagus is always real.
Best is subjective.
Is it really subjective? That your hot take? Here is a irrefutable fact I bestow upon you of objective truth. The best is yet to come, Michael.
You aren't going to mummify me, are you?
Not if you solve the riddle. The sphinxes of ancient Kemetic Tartaria often would abduct a lone wanderer and make the solve an unsolvable riddle. If the poor fool answered correctly, the sphinx would release the prisoner. If the answer was wrong, the wanderer would become trapped, destined to wander the endless void forevermore. It's a lovely story. Around you are endless riddles and their clues.
I noticed that. Every kind of Odo Golden Dawn hot topic art and paraphernalia. I'm not goth, Andreas. I don't find darkness and death fun.
Real Visigoths prefer mustard, periwinkle and crimson. Think of the fire as the darkness, which burns truth. This crypt's shadow is its blunt honesty.
Well, the last place, I'm not reading anything else aloud.
Michael, this is Kemetic Tartaria, as the Greeks once called Egyptus. Here there are no words, only symbols. The Phoenicians are far, far away from your mind's eye. You might have heard of ancient Egyptian amulets and other occult jewelry that depicts sacred scarab beetles. These beetles are not mythological characters created by the new state of Egypt. In fact, they are dung beetles. They are considered sacred by the ancient Tartarians. These dung beetles were linked to the progenitors, especially remembered is Khepri, the morning sun. This god was depicted as a man with the head of a scarab beetle. The scarab is one of the most important symbols of the ancient Tartaria. This mythological symbol of the dung beetle.
The dung beetle.
These beetles feed on dung, and hence the name, dung beetles. While most of the scarab species make spherical dung balls, which are used as food or as brooding chambers, some others live in the dung itself. The beetles that belong to the first category are termed rollers, whereas the latter are called dwellers. There is one more category of scarabs, that bury the dung, found by them. These scarab beetles are called tunnelers.
That's literally the most disgusting creature I've ever heard about.
It is the dung rolling habit of the scarab beetles, that was noticed by the people of ancient Tartaria. They found the infantile babelings of scarab beetles hatching, and emerging from the dung. Seemingly out of the dust of death and bile. Dying and birthing, as civilizations were born and die, every day. These scarab beetles survived every reset in every brand of history. And so it was meant to be, that the people of ancient Tartaria linked these beetles to Khepri, the god of the rising sun. According to their beliefs, Khepri created himself out of nothing. The ancients believed that, like Khepri, the scarab beetles too emerge out of nowhere and nothingness. The Tartarians believed that the scarabs were all hermaphroditic, and thusly began linking scarab beetles to the transgender progenitors. As per ancient Tartarian beliefs, the scarab beetle symbolizes regeneration, transformation, renewal, and resurrection.
I don't even like the beetles. Do you have anything slightly less Aleister Crowley for me?
Slightly, yes. Look at the pictures, see for yourself.
The dog on his knees looks like Anubis. Is that eagle guy, Horus or Thoth? Is that an all-seeing guy? Or a helicopter?
Perhaps it's an all-seeing helicopter. What are they up to, eh, Michael?
They seem to be making a deal. Some sort of contract. Considering the aesthetic, I would guess it has to do with life and death. Behind you. Is that Seth and Maat? In front of the open coffin. This isn't like, you aren't seriously suggesting that I...
Clever, man. Order, out of chaos.
I'm not getting in the coffin.
We are not getting in. We're going out. This is the negotiation of heaven and hell. Paradise and the pyre of sulfur. Singularity and solemn emptiness.
That's great, Andreas.
How is your father?
My father? He died a number of years ago.
But how is he really?
Well, I'm sure he can't complain.
Actually, from my own interactions with him he seems frustrated.
You spoke with my dead father?
As if he has less control over his own destiny, even though I checked the metalogs. Vigorously, he arrived at his destiny by choice alone, hardly any sprinkled fate.
Andreas, this is too much. I think you've crossed some very serious boundaries here. I'm not sure how to handle this. How is? I mean, he is dead so, but... How was, or he?
Is, how he is. You want to ask me how he is doing?
Yes.
People seldom change, Michael. Luckily there is plenty of work in the afterlife. Especially for former child actors, ironically. I went back and placed a jade stone scarab beetle upon his chest. A beautiful green glassy stone. Before they buried him. It's a tradition known as the heart scarab stone.
You have no right to do that. That is way beyond the pale.
You're welcome.
Look. I'm more confused than I was. I don't know what you're trying to tell me or show me or how it's supposed to help me. I'm feeling a bit of despair.
Fantastic. Stay with that feeling. Follow it to the end of the strand of clue string to the depths of your giant fossilized elephant cave. It may appear as some sort of self-evident truth that the fundamental quality which describes life is choice, however limited. And though death is described in many ways, it would seem that, to the living, death is described as a lack of choice. Isn't that interesting, Michael?
Fascinating.
Well, in a way it is. I suppose choice calls into question life's real validity at all. How much choice is there really in life? if one cannot control their destiny of death?
Andreas, I live with that paradox every day. That's part of growing up. Realizing and accepting what you can change and, more importantly, what you cannot. That is what life is. More responsibility is more freedom. That is the lesson.
And you have learned it well. Well done indeed. Michael, come out of that lonely, cold, perhaps desolate, perhaps dangerous forest.
No,
Michael, come out of the dark.
I'm not coming out. I'm staying right here.
Michael, you've been staying right there, standing still for all of an eternity. It is the world around you that's been changing. Michael, it's getting dreary and dark, and it's rather nippish. You're in the middle of nowhere, off the path. However, the road out is very close to you now. I have brought it within mere footsteps. If you stand where I'm standing, you can see light up ahead, from my point of view. You only have to take a few steps to get back on track.
I'm tired.
Michael, think your way out of the doldrums. Think of fish that fly and birds that swim. Turn your monsters into maidens. Make your man-eating chicken into a man-eating broccoli.
Look, Andreas. I'm tired of games and theatrics. I'm getting cold myself. Old and cold.
That's the first rhyme you've made upon our whole adventure. That rhyme was half the battle.
I rhyme all the time.
That's the spirit of the Geist. Don't stop now.
No way, Jose.
Honest question. What kind of polysyllabic words are there?
Well, there's bisyllabic, trisyllabic, unsyllabic, decasyllabic, heptasyllabic, monosyllabic, of course. What am I missing? Sexysyllabic, tautosyllabic, tetrasyllabic. Oh. And pentasyllabic.
Come again.
Pentasyllabic. That's the one I forgot, with 5 syllables.
That's absurd. Michael, how outrageous. I don't suppose you can possibly think of any pentasyllabic words. Not on this eve.
Ah, Brie, V8, ed.
Think of words with 5 syllables.
Achromatic, adiabatic, aphrodisiac, anagrammatic, apogrammatic, aposematic, apothegmatic, aristocratic,
Beginner's luck.
asymptomatic, axiomatic, bacteriostatic, bioclimatic, diagrammatic, electrostatic, epigrammatic, homeostatic,
On a roll now it seems.
homochromatic, idiomatic, intrahepatic, isochromatic, melodramatic, monochromatic, orthochromatic, paradigmatic, subachromatic,
Oh, but 5 more. You couldn't possibly.
polychromatic, psychosomatic, undemocratic, undiplomatic, unsystematic.
Now, isn't that better?
Sitting is nice.
In the right place. Indeed.
You know, Andreas. I honestly thought you were gonna tear open the world and pour us into Dance Inferno or something.
You don't trust me.
I don't trust anyone further than I can throw them, flyboy.
Very wise, sir. But, then a query. Why did you carry on our? Why did you go through with it?
I honestly didn't care anymore. I figured. After all you've put me through. I've been through. I figured. You know? Whatever.
Michael, that's very brave, and very intelligent to acknowledge all you have been through, and you're championing all that has come before you. You need not fear nor hesitate your legacy. They are a mound of golden bricks. Your choices, and your actions have cemented them into the tower of yourself. You are solid, Michael.
I don't feel solid.
That's because everything around you is vaporous. You can't touch electrostatic with more electrostatic. You have to embrace it, Michael. Have faith.
Faith in what? What is faith anyway?
Call it something less offensive. Perhaps conviction.
Okay, conviction. In what?
The concept in question is in fact the assent of the mind to the truth of a proposition or statement for which there is not complete evidence. Confidence in the authority and veracity of something beyond yourself, rather than upon one's own lack of experience, reason, or judgment. It is an earnest and trustful confidence, as to have faith in the testimony of a witness, to have faith in a friend.
Oh, that's all you're asking, is it?
Out of only faint interest. Michael, let me ask you another question. Now that you have come all the way from over there to over here, what's to keep stopping you from going forward?
I don't know. I guess it's just that over there is still the unknown. Here has become familiar. I mean, it's not great here. But there's no sharks or mummies or creepy spells. That wolf sounded miles away.
Dubious logic. Consider this. Whomever, or whatever, the wolf is shrieking at, either she sings to us or some prey, or to attract another wolf. Nature is a milieu of sophisticated interactions and relationships conspiring together and upon each other. Beautiful, really.
Look, I'm comfortable. Okay, Andreas? It's no lazy boy or Arne Jacobson, but it's a decent rock. It's supportive, and for vapor it's pretty seemingly solid. At least it could have fooled me.
And you find this cold stone hard idea reassuring. More reliable than the future is tempting.
Maybe not, but right now it's all I have.
And do you suppose that this cloud is thick enough to hold back the sands of time's hourglass and the winds of change?
Well, I suppose not.
I suppose you're right.
I knew it. Why am I always right? And yet still shocked every time? And yet never ever surprised? Ever. Andreas. What's this supposed to be?
To be, or not to be, that is the question, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep, to say we end the heartache, and the thousand natural shocks. That flesh is eter, 'tis a consummation, devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance, to dream. Yes, there's the rub, for in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil.
Enough with the Shakespeare.
I thought some Hamlet would do you good. After all, once forgotten it is heard no more. Life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
That's not Hamlet, that's Macbeth.
Michael, never ever never say the name of the Scottish play. This is very serious, Michael. Stop playing games.
I'm not. You tricked me into it.
Oh, scorpions of fate, something wicked this way comes. Tomorrow creeps into this petty place day by day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all of our yesterdays have lighted fools along their ways to their dusty deaths. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player.
I thought you had control over your monster. Don't you think you're overreacting?
Michael, when one mentions the name of the Scottish play, there are certain protocols which must be followed to ensure survival and circumvent an apocalypse. Double toil and trouble. Say it, say the words.
Double.
Toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake.
Really?
Really, fillet
Of a fenny.
fenny snake,
Fillet of a fenny snake.
in the
In the cauldron and bake.
eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork, and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing. For a charm, of powerful trouble, like a hell broth, boil and bubble. Look, just repeat the chorus. Double.
Double toil and trouble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good.
So we're all right?
I'll admit you had me a bit concerned there for a minute. Please try not to be so recklessly theatrical.
I'll try.
That's all I ask.
You know you ask a lot?
Only as much as you're capable of. Only what only you can accomplish.
Flattering.
Look, we don't have to go anywhere anymore if you prefer. We can just stay here.
Well, this place is kind of a bummer. So, I don't want to stay here. I have an idea. How about we go to a place I want to go?
That's a spectacular idea. Truly capital. Where do we go?
I don't know.
Perfect. I have a summer bungalow there. Come, Shelby, we off.
But... what?
Remember, Michael, the rules have changed. Things may not be as you remember them.
In the unknown?
Exactly. Peanuts or tomato juice.
Let me ask you something. Why is it everywhere you go, we get there instantly? The suffering doesn't even begin until after teleportation once we get where you're taking me. Now you say, we can go anywhere I want to go, which I'm still not sure where does you're taking me, to be honest. And yet even so, because it's my destination, we have to take a flight? In coach?
The destination isn't the point. It's all about the journey.
Okay. But coach?
Leather chairs. Terrible animal rights violation.
You eat meat.
Well, that's a red herring.
You cooked it at my house. I can't believe you did that. The searing flesh and burning fats got into everything.
Honestly, Michael, you remember the darndest things.
I remember it because the stench of blazing farm animals is still soaked into all my walls and furniture.
Now look what you've done, Michael. You've gone and made me thirsty. Chocolate milk. I was thirsty.
Oh. Right. Okay.
Would you like a jasmine tea?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Look, Andreas.
Michael, one moment. This place is so loud I can barely hear myself think. That's better.
Did you just kill them all?
Kill them. Michael, don't be ridiculous. I simply vaporized them. I evaporated them entirely from existence.
The people? That's horrible.
I also created them. They served their purpose. Don't worry, I have enough recordings to keep the television entertaining mindlessly with ambient jabbering gibberish for near a millennia of reruns. We shouldn't need them anymore. Anyway, isn't this more comfortable?
You shouldn't play with life like that. At least that's my opinion. Life isn't something to be made and played with and thrown away when you're bored with it. Life is precious.
What is life? And whom is she? That vixen? Death? Where does Mother Nature and Father Time play in? And whence are they played out? Michael, let me ask, do you believe in life after love? And, what is love? That incomprehensible thing, love. What is this thing called love? Baby, don't hurt me, no more.
Oh, right. The giant fossilized elephant mountain top. That's where I wanted to go.
I rather like it up here. Sometimes I myself come here. To, as you say, think. Shall we pontificate upon pachydermis and turtles all the way down?
It's crazy to think how big these titans get. I mean, the Heartstones alone are bigger than my Toyota. And to think they are alive? Or, whatever that means, able to make choices. Whatever you said. At least on some sort of parallel holographic dimension or whatever? I mean, I guess I always knew. But, you know, I still can't wrap my head around the ramifications. Like, what do I do about this? So like, what? Are we all alive? All dead?
Something like that.
I don't like the sound of that.
If you don't like the station, change the dial.
So what is that, Andreas? Are we living in radio? Is this some sort of giant radio set? Is that it? And the Titans are broadcast on a different channel?
Something like that. And, sometimes, when the weather permits, a bit of one's hit single, or one's obscure indie ballad, shines through another world's military games broadcast or corrupted politician's speech. And sometimes we find ourselves in the heart of the thickest parts of surreality. Sometimes, Michael, living giant fossilized titan elephant mountains stampede upon our hearts.
And sometimes, we stampede upon theirs. I think I get your point. Maybe it's time we set things right.
Yes, it is. It's nice up here.
Yeah. It has its charm. So, we're inside the giant fossilized elephant cave. What do we do now?
I suppose it all depends on what you want the consequences to be.
I just want to make things better, but since I can't be sure what that is, I want to at least put some of the things back the way I found them. Maybe when the fire burns down a bit and the hard rocks cool, we can put them back in the Titan's chest cavities. I have some back at the office I need to put back in the sea as well. So what, do I need to return all of them?
Certainly not, but if you know where they are, after your laboratory results and research, how many rocks do you need?
Fine. Fair enough. It's not like I'm a hoarder. It's for science. I'm just trying to collect evidence on a latitudinal study which will prove that these hard rocks are biological.
Yes, of course, but Michael, it's killing the dragons. Michael, let me tell you the sequel episode of The Golden Goose. Perhaps you are familiar with Mother who sent her boy to sell the cow who had stopped producing milk. And when the boy returned without a cow or coinage and instead with a goose whom the gypsy had promised commonly lay golden egg. And the mother screamed and called him foolish and beat the boy.
Yes?
Well, there's a second part. The next day the boy's mother herself saw the goose lay a golden egg, proving the gypsy right and vindicating her son. And you know what the mother said?
Go buy a cow?
Nay, she called him a fool and beat him again.
Why?
The mother criticized her boy for feeding the goose, and for his absurd patient waiting for the goose to produce golden eggs at its own command instead of hers. Take a knife and cut open the goose, boy, the mother said. And cut out the parts of the goose which makes the golden eggs, and we will have as much gold as we wish, whenever we see fit. And not have to worry for this dumb duck anymore. And you know what happened next?
Duck soup?
Exactly, and they never had another golden egg again.
So the moral is don't go hacking into things you don't understand?
You used to hack into all sorts of terminals you didn't understand, didn't you, Michael? Never knowing what sort of a system you'd end up in.
Okay, look, a computer is pretty different than a golden goose, or giant living fossilized titan elephant mountain.
Actually, most things are quite comparable to a computer.
Not like I had a nib mainframe. It was a Commodore 64. Wasn't even a good one.
I once saw a film about a Volkswagen Beetle that fell in love with a Lamborghini. It was quite touching.
Well, this is my favorite one.
Well, by all means keep that one.
I don't know. I'm not sure I need to keep it on me. I think I just sort of like finding them and knowing they're everywhere.
What is it about the heart stones that makes you so fascinated?
These aren't just rocks. They are the hearts that tie all life together. They're bloody seawater flowing and pumping life. Life and creatures of all kinds. Without them we're just an empty salty ocean with no currents. And no waves. And yet somehow, these heart stones go completely unnoticed. Breaks my heart.
Absence makes one grow fonder of the heart. It's getting rather definitive. Come, Michael, let's get you home.
Whoops.
What in tarnation?
Dad, you're home.
Hello, recent Tartarians. I'm Andreas Xirtus. How are you? I'm doing swimmingly. On today's very special and important broadcast, we delved into some very important topics. From the riddles of life and death, to the very nature of being itself. Our cheerful companion for this adventure, Michael found himself in between all these seemingly supernatural things. And often, at odds with them. Finding your way can seem difficult. Especially when the labyrinth you find yourself in constantly shifts course, even as you are yet standing, completely still. Things change. Also, while on our adventure, Michael's son, Sam, took advantage of the excessive freedoms fortuned upon the poor boy by our departure from his realm. Foolishly doubting the efficacy of his father's authority upon our most assured and definite return to the land of the living. For now, skateboarding in the condominium, Sam. Honestly, what were you thinking? Really, Sam, you're just lucky you're distracted from Stella. In fact, the only consolatory solace I find in all this, is that though I could use my magic to clean up this mess, I shan't. Thank you, recent Tartarians. Enjoy, Xirtus.